The atmosphere inside the stadium is incredibly suffocating, thick with an electric anticipation that you could cut with a knife. Suddenly, a highly controversial call by the referee completely halts the ferocious momentum of the match. The camera slowly pans to capture the two greatest titans of the sport, their eyes locked in a silent, intensely fierce battle of wills, where neither is willing to be. The heavy tension shatters into a million pieces as the first game officially kicks off, and Yingsha demonstrates exactly why she sits on the throne. She immediately launches a relentless, suffocating assault, unleashing a devastating combination of lightning-fast serve and attacks that completely neutralizes her opponent's natural rhythm. Her ball placement is terrifyingly precise, acting like a sniper rifle that constantly forces Wang Manyu into incredibly awkward and desperate defensive postures. Wang Manyu's mounting frustration is visibly palpable as her unforced errors begin to pile up rapidly under the crushing, suffocating pressure of Sun's aggressive tactics. As the second game begins, the entire dynamic of the match shifts dramatically, evolving into a high-octane, brutal chess match played at absolute lightning speed. Yingsha desperately tries to maintain her blistering, overwhelming pace, but Wang Manyu has completely recalibrated her entire defensive grid to absorb the shockwaves. The rallies grow exponentially longer and far more grueling, pushing both elite athletes to the absolute breaking point of their physical and mental endurance. Refusing to be swept off the court, Wang makes a brilliant, calculated tactical pivot, completely altering her serve placement to thoroughly disrupt Sun's aggressive footwork. This masterful, veteran adjustment instantly traps Yingsha in a complex web of exhausting multi-shot rallies, draining her stamina and forcing highly uncharacteristic, critical mistakes. With absolute ice running through her veins, Wang Manyu systematically dismantles Sun's early momentum, proving exactly why she is the undisputed world. Number 2. I maximize the threat. Currently, the major score is 1-1. It's too intense. Yingsha, tapping deep into her legendary championship DNA, suddenly elevates her game to an otherworldly level, dictating the terrifying flow with sheer willpower and unparalleled tactical genius. But Wang Manyu is an unstoppable, relentless force of nature, absolutely refusing to let the point gap widen as she aggressively initiates a breathtaking, high-risk cross-court attack. The margin for error has vanished entirely into thin air. 1 millimeter of miscalculation, one fraction of a second of hesitation, could mean the heartbreaking difference between hoisting the glorious trophy and suffering an agonizing defeat. The arena is a cauldron of suffocating tension, where every microscopic shift in footwork can spell the difference between glorious victory and devastating defeat. Yingsha, a titan of the sport, is forced into a corner. Her body awkwardly shifting to protect her backhand, a microscopic error that her opponent instantly registers. The rhythm of the match is a living, breathing entity, and right now, it pulses entirely to the heartbeat of Yingsha. She dictates the spin, the speed, and the sheer atmospheric pressure of the table, leaving her opponent struggling to find a single pocket of breathable air in the rally. In a game measured in millimeters and milliseconds, a slight loss of balance translates to a gaping, fatal vulnerability. The table opens up like a cracked fortress, exposing a directional void that practically begs to be exploited by a merciless forehand smash. This isn't just a physical brawl. It is high-speed, high-stakes physical chess played at 200 kilometers per hour. You don't just hit the ball hard to win. You lay elaborate, invisible traps, sacrificing the first and second strikes purely to orchestrate a lethal, inescapable checkmate on the third. The momentum begins to shift, a dangerous undercurrent threatening to drag the leader under, prompting a desperate tactical pause to stop the bleeding. The screech of rubber on the floor halts, and a heavy silence falls over the stadium as the athletes retreat to their corners, chests heaving, eyes locked in distant calculation. Wow. This is too intense. My heart is pounding like crazy. Tied at 1-1. In a surreal juxtaposition that only live broadcasting can provide, the life-or-death athletic struggle is abruptly paused for a bizarre, hyper-energetic commercial break. While the two gladiators wipe the sweat from their brows and mentally prepare for war, the commentators seamlessly transition into aggressively hawking a miraculous Korean toothpaste. The broadcast snaps back to reality just as the ball is tossed into the air, initiating a brutal, lightning-fast exchange that blurs the eyes. Sun Yingsha, seemingly trapped in a passive mid-table loop, violently snaps her wrist, redirecting the ball with terrifying precision into the absolute dead zone of Wang Manyu's forehand. Broke Wang Manyu's rally rhythm. Realizing that playing into the hurricane of speed is a death sentence, Wang Manyu initiates a brilliant, frustrating counter-strategy. She deliberately drags the tempo into the mud, pulling the ball high, looping it with agonizing slowness, daring her opponent to overextend and crash. The ball hangs in the air, deceptively slow but loaded with a vicious, invisible kinetic energy. Wang Manyu is injecting maximum, sickening spin into every shot, turning the lightweight plastic sphere into a heavy, unpredictable weapon designed to shatter her opponent's racket angle. The table shrinks to a claustrophobic corridor as both players lock into a mesmerizing, brutal backhand-to-backhand duel. It is a pure test of iron will and forearm strength. Two warriors trading blows in a phone booth, waiting to see whose muscles will give out first. Sun Yingsha unleashes a barrage of what should be unreturnable, match-ending thunderbolts. Yet, Wang Manyu transforms into an impenetrable brick wall, her racket absorbing the explosive impact time and time again. Her defensive resilience slowly breaking the spirit of the attacker. The tactical masterpiece is finally realized as the defensive wall suddenly turns into a crushing offensive avalanche. By absorbing the pressure and waiting for the exact right fraction of a second, Wang Manyu flips the script, taking the game 1-1-6 and dragging the match into a suffocating 2-2 deadlock. The deadlock forces a radical mutation in strategy, as playing a long game is no longer a viable option for survival. Sun Yingsha decides to end the points before they even begin, unleashing a flurry of chaotic, rapid-fire strikes in the first 3 touches to completely bypass the defensive wall. It is a masterclass in deception. She isn't just hitting the ball. She is playing the opponent's nervous system like a grand piano. A feigned heavy smash turns into a delicate drop shot. A predicted slow loop accelerates into a blinding flick, leaving Wang Manyu swinging at ghosts. The physical exhaustion is palpable, sweat dripping onto the blue table. But the true battle is raging inside their minds. Every rally is a complex equation of physics and psychology. A 3-dimensional chess match where stamina, focus, and sheer brainpower are being drained by the second. A microscopic pattern emerges from the chaos, a deliberate, predatory adjustment designed to exploit a newly discovered crack in the armor. Sun Yingsha completely abandons the flanks, refusing to give her opponent the comfortable angles she craves. Just break through from your forehand middle. Attack the middle. The pressure cooker of the deciding games begins with a shocking surge of dominance, threatening to end the narrative prematurely. Wang Manyu comes out like a predator, suffocating the table and jumping to a commanding 4-1 lead, her eyes locked on the ultimate prize. But the world number 1 does not break. Instead, she taps into a terrifying reserve of aggressive, unyielding energy. Sun Yingsha steps around the table, unleashing a hurricane of continuous forehand bombs, each one heavier and faster than the last, physically pushing her opponent away from the table. Manyu called a timeout. The timeout proves to be a masterstroke, a hard reset that completely alters the gravitational pull of the arena. Returning to the table, Wang Manyu executes the exact same tactical strike twice in a row, a psychological dagger that catches Sun Yingsha entirely off guard. The match has evolved from a game of skill into a brutal, unforgiving war of attrition where the body begs to quit. Lungs burn, legs feel like lead, and the racket feels like it weighs 100 pounds, yet neither warrior is willing to take a single step backward. Now the two are in a race to 7. In the absolute peak of the tension, with the championship hanging by a thread in a Game 7 tiebreaker, the broadcast descends into absolute commercial madness. The commentators are screaming at the top of their lungs, not just about the match points, but frantically pushing a gold-plated, red-enameled gourd necklace, urging viewers to buy it for good luck before the stock runs out. The absurdity of the livestream sales pitch fades into the background as the camera zooms in on the eyes of the two exhausted gladiators. This final, deciding game strips away all the complex trickery. It is a raw, brutal exhibition of their absolute best, signature techniques clashing in the center of the table. There is no more hiding, no more probing. The strategy is laid bare for the entire world to witness. Yingsha is acting like a heat-seeking missile, ignoring the corners and relentlessly, violently hammering the ball directly into the awkward middle of Wang Manyu's body. The physical realm is exhausted. The match is now being played entirely in the dark, silent corridors of their minds. It is a high-stakes poker game, each player trying to read the microscopic twitches of the other's shoulders to predict where the next lethal strike will land. This variation by Manyu is right. Backed into a corner. Trailing in the final moments, Wang Manyu decides to roll the dice on a desperate, high-risk gamble. Instead of the safe, expected short serve, she violently chops the ball deep and fast to the absolute edge of the baseline, praying for a miscalculation.